The terror network just blinked. After years of marking conservatives for death with zero consequences, Antifa's mask finally slipped. They published their own confession admitting that Charlie Kirk's assassination exposed their entire operation. Now they're running scared as President Trump officially designated them terrorists, domestic terrorists, and the FBI is preparing raids. But here's where it gets darker. The money trail leads straight to George frickin' Soros and even foreign governments. Documents show Canadian pipelines funding these terror cells while Biden handed medals to their financiers. From coast to coast, the network that murdered Charlie Kirk is about to face the full force of American justice. This is the reckoning they feared and that we wanted. So keep on watching. Now, a word from our sponsor. Let me ask you something. If you've built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want it all riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about my friends at Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind the big players are buying. And you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. Have you seen the price of gold lately? It is skyrocketing. Look, you've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Their precious metal specialists are standing by to answer all your questions and walk you through every step. Simple, safe, easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com. That's nextnewsgold.com. It's time to protect what you have built. And when you call the number on the screen, 877-646-5347, do me a favor. Tell Colin that Gary said what's up. Would you do that for me? All right. So, lots of news happening on the Antifa front. It is long, long overdue. President Trump officially designating them a terrorist organization. And here's what he said just 2 hours ago.
Agitators.
Who are they?
Well,
and where's the money coming from? Is it foreign entities?
Yeah, you're going to find out, and we're going to find out in great detail. And it surprised me that Biden wouldn't have done it because it really became hot over the last 3-4 years. It surprised me that Biden wouldn't do it. But then as I got to know him, first of all, he didn't call the shots. He wasn't calling the shots. But as we got to see what was happening in Biden's group, Antifa plays perfectly for them, absolutely perfectly. But it's a terrorist organization, in my opinion, and we're going to find out. All those questions are going to be answered. Agitators.
Just like the Ku Klux Klan were the militant arm of the racist Democrat Party in the Deep South, the Antifa movement are the brown shirts of the Democrat Party of today. Let's just call it like it is. President Trump says, we are going to find out if Soros is behind it. Oh, yes, we will. Soros is freaking out right now.
They have signs, and they're all professionally made. Real protesters make them in their basement. And they're all the same.
So who's behind it? Do you have a gut feeling?
You hear Soros. I don't know. We're going to find out if he's behind it. But it's incitement to riot. That's a criminal act. And people are dying because of it. So it's really, it's death. So we're gonna find out, and it should have been done a long time ago. They have signs, and they're all.
Oh yes, Soros is currently changing his depends as we speak. Here's more from President Trump in that interview on Fox. We are going to do a big thing with Antifa.
American flag. We're going to do a big thing with respect to Antifa. It's a sick group. Very, very sick group. We have a lot of things. They love burning the American flag. I think it's terrible that they burn the American flag. We're going in and we're saying it incites riots, and therefore you go to jail for 1 year if you burn the American flag. That's different than Antifa, but Antifa burns a lot of American flags. Because, as you know, the free speech got us on the American flag. The courts have ruled free speech. So we're going to go on an incitement of riots. I saw it the other day. I saw it the other day on your show. They have an American flag, and a guy starts burning it. And the people went crazy about it, and they ended up rioting all over the place. So we think that's a reason also. And we're going into the courts with that, which is incitement. Antifa causes tremendous incitement, and the things they say and the things they do are horrible. So we're going to find out.
You said
we're going to
yeah, they
the same.
Who's behind it?
They effed around, and now they're going to find out. MJ Truth Ultra. Do you believe there's a vast terrorist movement in the United States?
Do you believe that there is a vast terrorist movement in the United States that people need to be aware of? And is it responsible for Charlie Kirk's killing, for the attempts on your life, for these CEOs that we saw in New York City? Is there something people need to understand?
You never know, and we'll find out maybe. But in the meantime, we're going to do a big thing with respect to Antifa. It's a sick group. I mean, very, very sick group. We have a lot of things. They love burning the American flag. I think it's terrible that they burn the American flag. We're going in and we're saying it incites riots, and therefore you go to jail for 1 year if you burn the American flag. That's different than it.
Yeah. So we got this from Andy No. He says the Antifa cell in Corvallis, Oregon, has published an after-action report on the fallout from Charlie Kirk's assassination. They admit fearing the loss of their ability to mark conservatives for death with no pushback, especially as some apolitical institutions, groups, and businesses now feel safer expressing sympathy to Kirk's family and supporters. They also concede that the attacks on Sean Fuchs' Christian worship events have been a PR disaster, with cameras showing masked Antifa militants assaulting families and children at those events. To counter a possible cultural shift away from their dehumanization tactics that are mainstream on the left, Antifa suggests exploiting divisions on the right to divide and conquer, and they suggest using Israel as the wedge issue. Here is the message that was published by Andy No. He's been tracking these scumbags for a long time, been a victim of them, almost died at their hands. Anti-fascists have attempted to counter several of these rallies in Portland and Seattle, but these counters have been unequivocal and optical and tactical failures. And here is anti-fascists must work to find more creative ways to counter this political moment, one possibly using a wedge issue. In this context is Israel. Addressing mobilizations like these requires careful consideration. The most similar rallies we've seen in the PNW, Pacific Northwest, have been those following homophobic evangelical preacher Sean Fuchs. Simply put, black bloc counters of what appear to be normie worship events with children in attendance is decidedly a bad look and contributes to the American conservative persecution narrative. So they recognize what they're doing is actually working against them. Josh Hawley, 24 hours ago, writes on X that George Soros invented and perfected the left's dark money playbook. All the anti-ICE riots we've seen across the country were not organic. They were carefully planned and backed by dark money. Time to prosecute. Here he is talking with Jesse Waters.
Has perfected.
Yeah, so like you see LA riots and all of a sudden some guy comes by in a vehicle delivering a whole box of commercial grade gas masks. I mean, how does someone get that into the hands of rioters that fast? And does that come from Soros? I mean, tell us where it comes from.
Well, that's what we need to find out. I'm willing to bet a lot of it does come from Soros, because Soros in particular has perfected the dark money charade, the dark money shell game where they move it around through different entities you can't trace. But Jesse, you just think about these riots that began in L.A., that they tried to then spread to other cities that Trump is now shutting down. All of them were planned. None of these were organic. And we know because they all followed the same playbook. Same thing on campuses the last 2 years. All these campus so-called demonstrations, it's all AstroTurf. It's all fake, because the Democrat Party today is a theater troupe funded by George Soros. The problem is they're also violent. And that's what we've seen in the last week. Once again, we have got to stop the flow of the money. We've got to prosecute those who engage in violence. And we've got to shut down this attempt to divide the country, which the Democrats have been carrying on for years now.
Yeah, so like you...
George Soros in the crosshairs. As we heard last week, President Trump said RICO is on the table for George Soros. Now, if you recall, when J.D. Vance was hosting the Charlie Kirk show, Stephen Miller joined him. And they have a righteous new mission.
It's not okay. Very worried about how we got here in the first place. And you have the crazies on the far left who are saying, oh, Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance, they're going to go after constitutionally protected speech. No, we're going to go after the NGO network that foments, facilitates, and engages in violence. That's not okay. Violence is not okay in our system, and we want to make it less likely that that happens. Walk me through, at a high level, like what you and I have been working on, what the whole administration has been working on to try to make sure that we don't reward and promote this craziness.
Now, before Stephen Miller starts, what I've been actually, I was talking with Tom McCullough, who is one of our White House correspondents. I was with him earlier today, and I was thinking to myself, how do we counter this? How do we get to the bottom of it? And I suddenly was reminded of the McCarthy hearings of the 1950s that created a lot of panic and paranoia. And I said, is there something like that can be done today, but with respect to the communist Marxist infiltration that is currently embedded within the United States, but not encounter the same pitfalls that the McCarthy era concluded with? And really, you need to have like a special committee in Congress with subpoena power to haul in all of the heads of these NGOs, dig into their bank records, follow the money, haul George and Alex Soros right before the committee, and make them testify under oath. Now, they're going to have enough plausible deniability. Oh, we just gave money to here and here and here. But, of course, they're giving money to shell corporations, shell nonprofits that just distribute the money quietly to all these different groups. However, you got to follow the money. And that's exactly when I was talking to Tom. He's like, J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller were just talking about this. I said, this is great. So I wanted to find this clip, and I want to present it to you because we need to put this out there. We need to reinforce what they're saying here, because we do need to have a special commission in the House to follow this with subpoena power to hold these people accountable that can refer individuals to the Department of Justice for prosecution.
Yes, so it's an excellent question. I said this before, but it bears repeating. The last message that Charlie sent me was, I think it was just the day before we lost him, which is that we need to have an organized strategy to go after the left-wing organizations that are promoting violence in this country. And I will write those words onto my heart, and I will carry them out. If people ask me, what emotions I'm feeling right now, this is something people say. I mean, you kind of know the answer. There's incredible sadness, but there's incredible anger. And the thing about anger is that unfocused anger or blind rage is not a productive emotion.
Right.
But focused anger, righteous anger, directed at just cause is one of the most important agents of change in human history.
Charlie showed that. Amen.
And we are going to channel all of the anger that we have over the organized campaign that led to this assassination to uproot and dismantle these terrorist networks. So let me explain a little bit what that means. So,
You've got 30 seconds, so be quick, Stephen.
The organized doxing campaigns, the organized riots, the organized street violence, the organized campaigns of dehumanization, vilification, posting people's addresses, combining that with messaging that's designed to trigger and incite violence, and the actual organized cells that carry out and facilitate the violence, it is a vast domestic terror movement. And with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make America safe again for the American people. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name.
Thank you, Stephen. Don't go away. I'll be joined by a guest of...
Amen. We will do it in Charlie's name. So right now, you're hearing the executive branch action. We need to have a parallel legislative branch action doing the same thing, so they can refer the criminal referrals to the Department of Justice. And of course, today, Antifa officially declared a domestic terrorist organization. Long overdue. Antifa, now designated a terrorist group. It's about time, Toma says. This violence they have brought to our country is coming to an end. Justice is coming to stop the violence they have conducted. Look at all of those mugshots. Organized domestic terrorists. And I'll bet you all of those folks got let out, no cash bail, or, Kamala Harris is sending out text messages to raise money for their bail. It's one or the other. Laura Loomer weighing in. I love it. She says, I can't wait to see armed raids on Antifa members by the feds. I cannot wait. She says, get on the floor, bitch. Hell yeah. That's a repost from me, Laura. DC Drano says, I'll be honest. It's completely unacceptable that Antifa has been allowed to exist this long. Yeah. They wear black uniforms with face masks and shields. They have centralized communication, recruitment policies, and financing. They were brought here by foreign agents in 2017, he says. They are violent paramilitary terrorists. Yeah, look at them right there. Violent paramilitary terrorists. And they're standing behind the communist hammer and sickle on that shield. ACAB, if you don't know what that means, it means all cops are bastards. That's, whenever you see that posted anywhere, that's what it means. Andy, no. 19 hours ago, expect a lot of liberal and left-wing media propaganda the next few days about Antifa. Oh, yes, it's going to happen. He says they will say the movement doesn't organize into groups and that those involved are peaceful. Racial justice activists simply opposed to fascism. Don't let them get away with lying. Clandestine writes, the left are once again gaslighting the public, claiming Antifa does not exist. Remember? We got a clip. I remember when Trump brought it up and Biden's like, oh, no, it's just an idea. The left are once again gaslighting the public, claiming Antifa does not exist. They think we forgot about the blue-haired trans furry kids burning city streets down and attacking federal buildings for years. The Dems are begging you not to believe your own eyes. Yeah, here you go. Here's some of them right here. Look at them all. These are terrorists now. Finally. Andy No says American Antifa are almost entirely a domestic network, but they do maintain links with Antifa in Canada and Europe. Secretary of State Marco Rubio should consider declaring the international manifestations of Antifa as foreign terrorist entities to the United States government. In 2021, German Antifa took over Leipzig city center and then carried out mass attacks on the public to try to intimidate judges and prosecutors handling a criminal case involving their violent members. They do the same in France and in other countries. And he posts this video of Antifa in a foreign city, all carrying black umbrellas with black smoke billowing. This is a very well-organized and well-funded international terror network. And here are two of the Democrats' biggest donors. Photo 1, two of the Democrats' biggest donors. Photo 2, two of the terrorist organization Antifa's biggest funders. Oh, and what's this? Both pictures are George and Alex Soros. Come at me, bitch. Who else? Antifa Watch. It appears that the child of Democrat House Minority Whip Catherine Clark was arrested for assaulting police as part of an Antifa event in Boston last night. Now, I'll let you know that this post was made January 22nd of 2023. Jared Riley Dowell allegedly graffitied Stop Cop City and assaulted police while resisting arrest. The offspring of your Democrat Party. Right there. Does that face look like a peaceful, happy, simple protester to you? Love and flowers and peace? No. This is the face of evil. Demonic, possessed evil. Oh, yeah, baby. Party time. What about this? Remember this? I love C3. This is one of my favorite follows on X. Wait until we find out one of Biden's final acts was awarding the man funding Antifa the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Soros and the Open Society Foundation are responsible for decades of political violence. Leftist political violence was protected and awarded. Here is the moment that the Presidential Medal of Freedom was awarded to George Soros, and he was just too sickly to show up at the White House, apparently, so Alex Soros had to accept on his behalf.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to George Soros. Born into a Jewish family in Hungary, George Soros escaped Nazi occupation to build a life of freedom for himself and countless others around the world.
And I should add, personally, to destabilize governments around the world, including the United States. Look at Hillary Clinton sitting in the background, wearing her Medal of Freedom. They should be handing out handcuffs to these people. Oh, who can ever forget this picture? Here's a friendly reminder that the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, is a big fan of Antifa. Remember when he posted this picture? I will never forget that. Baked Alaska posting 18 hours ago, "Excuse me, FBI, I'd like to report an Antifa domestic terrorist who needs to be immediately arrested and deported. His name is Hassan the Hun. He's currently crying and pissing under his bed sheets right now. Thank you for your attention to this matter." I don't know who this person is, but apparently Baked Alaska knows who this is. Looks like maybe some kind of streamer. He's got a big microphone, but he's got an Antifa poster in the background or an Antifa album. Oh, but of course the t-shirt tells a different story. Anti-fascist. Oh, yeah. You guys are so above us all. You're anti-fascists. And then when they go ahead and they label us all fascists, justifies their attacks on everybody, including Charlie Kirk. Remember what was etched on the bullet? "Hey, fascist, catch." And of course, the left doesn't want you to think that Taylor Robinson was just, he wasn't a leftist, not at all. No. And we have this legal mindset. Finding out the Canadian government is funding Antifa is wild and strengthens the argument for classifying Antifa, or at least foreign cells of Antifa, as foreign terrorist organizations. Foreign funds flowing to acts of terrorism which undermines U.S. national security. Legal Mindset, host of Legal Mindset, lawyer law in Bangkok, Thailand, I guess. YouTube channel. Let's see what he's got to say here.
Federally, this is a big one, and this just came out today. Canada, Trudeau and Canada is funding Antifa. You can't make this up. Discord chat platform scrutinized in Kirk assassination used Canadian leftist networks to circulate political target files. Lawyer alleges federally funded Canadian anti-hate network has aided Antifa-aligned groups that are compiling private dossiers on citizens via Discord. You cannot make this stuff up. Canada, Trudeau, is funding Antifa. This proves the element of foreign support. And as much as we may not view our Canadian brothers as foreign, that is a foreign country. And we are not obliged to support the radical leftist views of Canada. And you're trying to support American far-left organizations, right? That is a big deal. This is a massive deal. And I think it's more than enough justification to do this. By the way, they get a lot of money from Germany, too. Germany sends a lot of money to Antifa. There's a lot of foreign money coming in. And that's huge because stopping the money flow is the best thing that this does. Let's talk about that. This is the authority that they used to designate the cartels. Look at this. You can literally replace the word cartel with Antifa and just copy paste the word Antifa over cartel, and this works. Let's read this for a second. Okay? This order creates a process by which certain, let's say Antifa, right, and other organizations will be designated as FTOs, right, or specifically global terrorists consistent with AIPA, right? International cartels, let's replace this with Antifa. Antifa constitutes a national security threat beyond that posed by traditional organized crime. That's true. Convergence between Antifa and a range of extra hemispheric actors from designated foreign terrorist organizations to antistic foreign governments. This is true. This is true. And I hate to say it, but even Canada, if they're helping, they're an antagonistic foreign government. I'm sorry. You know, once again, I love Canadians. That's nothing against Canadians, but it's against the government, right? The government is acting as an antagonistic foreign government. If they are funding radical groups that are engaging in terrorism in the United States.
Oh, and that day is over now, my friends. It is far from over. This is the official statement from the White House. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots I'm designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. The White House presenting the official statement from the President of the frickin' United States from his Truth Social account. This is Ted Cruz encouraging the FBI Director Kash Patel not just go after those who aided and abetted Charlie Kirk's assassin, but follow the money. This was from that explosive hearing, oversight hearing, just 48 hours ago.
I want to encourage you in the course of this investigation, absolutely go after anyone who aided and abetted. But I want to more broadly encourage you, follow the money.
Yeah.
The violence we are seeing is not purely organic. There is, I believe, significant money that is spreading dissension, that is spreading violence. Antifa. Do you believe Antifa is a terrorist organization?
I believe Antifa is associated with a lot of violence in this country. As to its designation, I'll leave that to the appropriate authorities.
So I would encourage the administration to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, to go systematically after Antifa. They've committed acts of violence all over the country.
And 48 hours later, Antifa is designated a terrorist organization. Let's flash back to 2020, shall we? Trump warned that Antifa was a radical left-wing militant group, and Joe Biden claimed Antifa was not a real organization, just an idea. The Dems not only try to cover up their brown shirts, the Dems and Antifa are the same entity.
Is tonight. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left.
FBI director.
This is a left-wing
white supremacist. Antifa is an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI. His FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're moving.
When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas.
Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now moving.
Somebody's got to do.
And now in 2025, Antifa officially designated as a terrorist organization. You saw Joe Biden say, it was your own FBI director. Oh, was it? Oh, we're talking about Christopher Wray? Yeah, that guy wasn't compromised, part of the deep state establishment. Please. You're FBI director. Jack Posobiec weighing in on the announcement today.
Antifa, but we're here on a mission because we've got work to do. President Trump has made the announcement, executive order will be forthcoming. Antifa is to be designated a domestic terrorist organization. Now, of course, the same ridiculous voices on the left are running around telling you there's no such thing as Antifa. Antifa doesn't exist. Antifa is just a figment of some right-wing imagination, some right-wing fever dream. Well, that's very interesting because, you see, I've got thousands upon thousands of hours of video, of documentary evidence, of network information that we put out into an entire book. I wrote about the Antifa, stories from within the Black Bloc in 2021. I infiltrated Chaz in 2020. I was there when Raz Simone loaded his 9mm. I was racing against people, drawing weapons in the midst of all of this. Gone up against Antifa time and time and time again. So today we're going to talk all about the Antifa. Who are
they? Well, now they are domestic freaking terrorists. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, this is not just another Washington scandal. This is the systematic unmasking of a terror network that operated with impunity for years. When Antifa admits they're losing their power to mark conservatives for death, that is not speculation. That's their own confession in black and white. They know Charlie Kirk's assassination changed everything. No more free passes. No more looking the other way while they terrorize American cities. The money trail from Soros to the Canadian pipelines proves this was never grassroots. This was AstroTurf soaked in blood money. Democrats gave medals to their funders while calling us fascists. Keith Ellison held their handbook. Catherine Clark's kid got arrested at the riots. Elizabeth Warren posing with their leaders. And the evidence is overwhelming, so here's my question. Should foreign funding of domestic terror groups be prosecuted as treason? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. Let's continue this conversation. And while you're fired up, check out our Next News merch shop. It's linked down below. Show them whose side that you're on.